All right, it being 5 minutes after 4, I guess we'll call the DPW Natural Resources Building Committee meeting together and get underway.
Excuse me, Peter, did you say it was not being recorded?
It is.
It is,
Okay.
yeah. Okay, first on the agenda, review the project budget and the contingency fund expenses. I know there's a fair amount of stuff to digest here. I sent you guys earlier today, and I apologize for it being that late, a budget tracker for where we are. And I guess there's a breakdown there of change orders. I don't know whether you guys want to take a minute to go through that and.
Right there.
Curiosity question.
Did you go and see your dad the other day?
Testing.
The other night?
All of the,
Testing.
oh, that's
Soil
that's
testing?
commissioning, basically. That's systems that were out there that were required to be tested by usually independent, what they call commissioning agents.
Could be
They're-
concrete testing, soil testing,
Yeah.
compaction.
Are you looking at the Briggs testing?
asphalt.
The Briggs.
Yeah. Briggs is a
Soil.
independent
Yeah,
engineering firm that does all of the testing of the, goes from concrete all the way to structural steel, compaction of the soil, the asphalt.
Individual bills for every day they came out.
Yeah. Wow.
So if they ever ran into a problem with the concrete or something spalled, we had independent engineer doing test cylinders. We did brakes on to make sure that met its tensile strength and all of that, so. Oh, shut down for 33 days. That's funny. I tried to get EDA to give me front-end documents for bidding wastewater. I hadn't been able to reach them for the past 6 weeks. It's been- They didn't do furlough with them guys.
No.
I guess while we're waiting, does this reflect all of our change orders? I mean, is this, or do we,
Okay.
I mean, we still have a few things.
If
I mean,
you, I have
minor-
a slide in my presentation that
Okay.
can talk about the value of that.
Okay,
And I actually brought it with me, so I'm glad I did. I didn't.
So it shows the potential.
It shows
Okay.
potential,
budget.
and I'll show it, I can show it on the screen for you when you guys are ready.
So why don't we go through the presentation?
Yeah, I was
It
just gonna
may-
say that.
It may answer quite a
Yep.
bit of the questions that you
Yep.
might have off the finances.
yep, I was, yeah, yep.
All right,
I'm,
okay.
yeah, why don't we do that?
All right, you guys just want to
Just that.
take a, let's go a light. Right behind you, there should be a light. See if you can
See
kill
that
the
switch?
light. That one, do that one. No, other one. There you go.
Perfect.
Just see it a little bit better. All right. So, anyway, I don't know if this is gonna be I have a feeling this might be our last meeting. So, if Peter gets his way.
Yeah.
But I think it is. At the end, there's a little thank you, but, I gotta be honest with you, I gotta thank you guys now, because quite honestly, if it wasn't for you guys, we wouldn't be having a building. It was a strong team effort. Well, Peter knows for decades, but in the last 5 years, The people in this room and a lot of the people around in this room have worked really hard to make this happen. So I just want to, take the opportunity to thank you guys for that. I think it's been a great project. We're, significantly on budget. We got good contingencies left still, and it's all because of the team involved in making it all happen. So the only thing missing from this building, which will probably happen next week, is there's a 5-foot diameter town seal that goes above where it says Town of Orleans. So
It's in the building, just being mounted next
yeah, it
Wednesday.
just has to be mounted. And one of the things I want to follow up with is lighting this thing. So that's something I'm going to follow up on. Because I know there was some lighting we talked about in the sticker office. It's there, there's a box and there's power to it, but it's actually just putting the lights in. And that's not on the contractor, but whatever. Details. But again, we're just missing this town seal in this picture. So we haven't talked in a while, but, actually big news. We're in today. So 4 of us. So there's Trish this morning at 7 o'clock, opening the door, all happy. It's a big day. There's Trish and a new secretary, Sarah. This is all this morning. And like I said, and the only other person is Alan, our recreation director. So there's 4 of us moved in today, myself and Alan and Trish and Sarah, to start getting things going. In fact, we had training this morning. I thought this was a good pick. We did training this morning on the wash bay equipment. And so we brought a truck in. It's Todd Bunzik in his truck. And that's demonstrating and operating the undercarriage wash, which is pretty awesome. That was an adult on the project because the bids came in good. And I think that's going to be money well spent. It's not just undercarriage, but it also does a side wash, hits it. And then you come in and it's got the high pressure power wash it inside. But I just thought that was a good pick and a good decision that's going to significantly improve the life of our equipment, and that's what a lot of this project was about. So just bumping back real quick, going back a few months, the site work is substantially complete. They got to, because of the cold weather, they got to come back next spring and, loom and hydro seed and restabilize, but substantially it's operational, so it's, substantially complete. Detention bond being constructed a few months ago. All the sheathing's done. The windows are all complete. All the plumbing. There's a serious amount of copper in the building. A lot of plumbing in that building. All the electrical's complete. Cabinets, millwork, countertops, everything else in the building's
That wasn't
complete.
that long ago, right?
No, they actually pulled it. The last couple months, they put out a lot of work. Floors, these are the floors in the locker rooms. Really nice.
Epoxy.
What type of? Yeah, they're epoxy floor.
Yeah.
Yeah, really nice floors. And these are the rubber tile floors in the sticker office, which goes in different parts of the building. But there's an example of it. Floors are all done. Locker rooms complete. We got punch lists. We're in the process of doing the punch list work, but everything is substantially complete. Vehicle lifts, complete. I kind of wanted to have this meeting at the new facility so we can actually walk you around. So anytime, like you guys, we should really set up a time anytime you guys come down. And you worked hard enough on this to really see we'll have an open house, I'll guess May or June, you know what I mean, when the weather's nice, we get some grass growing, things like that.
No free car washes, though.
No freaking washes.
Christ, mine would fall apart.
You wash the rust right off it, buddy. There's the wash bay when it was, I don't know, probably 85-90% complete.
Yeah, that was like a week and a half ago.
Yeah, a week and a half ago. Wash bay is awesome. Final cleanup is substantially complete. They brought some ladies in and went through the whole building before the furniture. I say substantially because it needs a touch up at this point. So. And then furniture came in. That was December, mid-December. Furniture came in. It's really mostly all complete at this point. I went through I got some punch list stuff with the installer the other day, but it's actually, he was like, this is the easiest punch list I've ever had. So went really well. That's the sticker office for the ladies that be selling all the stickers. You can see, actually what's kind of nice is if you look in the glass on the left, you can read it, Orleans Sticker Office. And that's reflecting from the windows in the front. It's just seen on the backside. So you can read it. Here's Ron doing his thing. The phones, radios are in. We had the final radios dropped in yesterday. You know, so I got 8 channels. I can talk to anyone right from my desk, which is awesome. And all the phones are installed. I haven't set up my voicemail yet. Phones have transferred, I think they're being transferred over. We have new phone numbers. We put out some information yesterday on it. It's on our website. We want to do a code red. We just haven't gotten to the PD yet. They're going to put it out all over town, our new phone numbers and our new address. So. Inspections, I say substantially complete. I mean, the initial round of all the inspections has been done, but at least the plumbing and electrical, as you
Life
guys
safety.
would. Life safety, I have to come back through to do, to check the punch list stuff, some items that they came up with. We have to, put some GFIs in the shops and things like that. Nothing earth-shattering, but mostly they've all been done. We know what we need to do to get our finals. As I heard Peter say earlier, we got a temporary CO this morning, and for the admin area, and I think we just had a meeting of the construction group down at the facility before we came here, and our goal is to have the final CO, say like Wednesday, Friday next week. Wednesday's our goal. We should have the final CO on the facility. And then we can start moving in trucks and other staffing. So let's talk money. So this is where we are now. That spreadsheet Peter just passed out, it all really crunches down to this, all right? So if you look at the arrows, total budget, not counting contingency, is at 13.3 million. We've paid out 12.4 million, 891,000 left. And that's just not to like West Construction, that's the whole job. I mean, that's me putting the finished coat of asphalt down in the spring, wrapping up the compost pad. I mean, that's the whole job,
What is the pavement number for the building? Not, the 60 is for the fuel depot?
Well,
Do you have a-
okay, so I'd have to look at the estimates were, I think it was like 100,000 or something like
Yeah,
that.
yeah,
For the top, thank you, yeah, for the top course. But that includes the fuel depot in that, so,
100,000 for
just
the entire
asphalt.
top, including the depot?
Yes, including the depot.
Okay.
But like, 30,000 of that, that footnote below says 144.5 facility, 60,000 for fuel depot. And Herb, I'll be happy to send you this presentation. It makes your life easier on taking the notes.
Want to add a couple of notes.
So if you look at that asterisk, okay, second line down, site work, 204,500 was the total site work that I'm doing, that the town of Orleans is doing, contracting out ourselves, not Wes's responsibility. We've only put out 43,000 so far because that might be money so far to work on the compost pad, money to take down the demo of the old buildings. So we've only paid out 43,000. So I got 161,000 left in my site work budget to finish the paving, to finish the compost pad. So of that 204,500, the original budget, if you look down below now, 144,500 came from the facility project, and 60,000 I still had left over from the fuel depot project because, we had to finish, we had to top coat the, if the building project never went forward, we would have had to finish the fuel depot. So I had 60,000 left to finish pave the fuel depot, put the gate up, things like that. That's all, that's what's included. So that's where the 204,500 number comes from. So, but if you look down below, like I said, total was 13.3. We paid out 12.4. We got 891 left to, to potentially pay out. But we're 93% paid on the project. And just as a side note, I ran the number. We're 95% on the building contract. So we're 95% on the
Up
building
to the last requisition, right?
up to the current point, the last
Correct.
requisition paid.
It was 95%, that's correct.
Right, 95% paid out. Okay. And that is important as part of this conversation. So you can look at all the change orders that are all in that paperwork Peter sent you. And we've talked about all these and what they are, except probably change order one for MTS, who did it, was our contractor who did all the networking and the phones and things. But we had a small change order with them that we needed to make some edits on their contract. So we've spent $156,000 out of contingency for construction work, say. All right.
How much you got remaining?
Well, we're gonna. You have to wait.
Oh, I'm sorry.
It's the big number. It's the big moment, right? Okay. So anyway, so we started with 600,000. We put out $200,000 in change orders, all right? But then you'll remember last August, we came to you and said, guys, you know, we have a problem with technology. Our technology budget is way underfunded. You agreed and the Board of Selectmen approved to transfer $111,000 out of technology back in August for, you know, well, for multiple, the first phase of the security system, multiple items, and you'll see that in a minute, leaving $332,000 in contingency right now. Now, with that being said, okay, so one thing I want you to show, this is important now. This is a great point. We're 93% paid out on the job, and we've only spent 45% of our contingency. You know, it's awesome. It's gone really well. You know, really, really well. You know, good plans, good management, you know, good team working together to make it happen. So, now, potential additional COs. And we talked about this a minute ago. Right now, this number is actually, I put this together, you know, the other day. This number's down. All right, because these are things that we're waiting on prices from, you know, the contractor. In fact, I can tell you, bear with me one second. We were waiting on a few things, let's see. Anticipated. There was a change on some overhead door support. I was carrying 15 grand for that. The real number's like 9,600, 9,900. So it's actually, say, 5 grand less. So this number actually, potential additional, is really only 22,000 as of a number I got today. So there's an extra 5 grand that we're like, okay, great. There's an extra 5 grand we're picking up. We are going to get a credit on Porta Johns. That's a long story, but, you know, a few grand. I'm carrying about 10 grand to put some guardrail in around those retention ponds that we value engineered out when we were going out to bid and running estimates. But now that we look at it, we're going, someone could get hurt. We want to add some guardrail. So anyway, so potential additional COs. It's really 22, but just for conversation, call it 27,000, right? We also have coming in, and it's committed, we're going to get it, a check for 22,900, which is our Cape Light Compact rebate. So that kind of comes off of it. It's going to go back into the pot. And so the real number, so right now we have an uncommitted contingency, meaning we don't know, there's nothing being held against it. You know, we don't know, you know, there's going to be some stuff. We know that. But right now, that's what we're sitting on. There's kind of the answer to your question at this point. Okay. It's actually 333,000, but we'll just call it 328 for now. All right. So the big ask today, so back in August, you know, I came to you guys and I said, look we got a problem with technology. You know, we were budgeted originally 126,000 and change up there. We bought all this stuff. We've done all this work. We only got $654 left, and this is our need. You know, we need 138 for the security, the time clock system, computers, plotter scanner, servers, all this. We need another 223,000. So I presented this back to you in August, and hold on. Oh yeah. So we came up with a plan, and the plan was to do phase 1 security, 56,000, do the time clocks, do the computers, do the servers, and because of the timing of the construction, it made sense, and 111,000. So you guys voted 111,000 on August 9th, and the Board of Selectmen agreed, and so we've done that work. Okay. But we knew back then, I'm coming back for phase 2, depending on how much contingency we have left and how everything, you know, the project goes, you know, from August till now. But, so we need another 83, I said then, 83,000 for security, 30,000 for the plan scanner and plotter. So at that time I said I'm going to come back for 112,000 most likely, probably drop it a little bit, but that was the number we talked about. Well, we've revised it a little bit. So here's where we're at. Remaining security, we know that's a hard number because we're just ready to sign the contract. And instead of 30,000, 20,000 for a plan scanner and plotter. So my ask today is $102,900 out of contingency, which if you guys say okay, the Board of Selectmen will act on next week. Okay, now watch this. Ready? Watch. Boom. Nice.
Couldn't get them the exact thing.
Well, look, I didn't drive it. I wasn't the drone driver, you know. This was one, I think this was Ron's son. I don't know who did this one. It might have been Ron's son.
Yeah.
Again. Was it?
I wish I could do that with buildings during construction.
Yeah, you can if you have a
Click-
drone.
Yeah, that was only
Click of a-
a couple of weeks ago, a few weeks
Right.
ago.
So, and the other thing to note on this isn't, I'll throw this out, not just the building, which obviously is the key point, but with the compost pad we built, you know, the roadway, we built that, you know, a year and a half ago, the roadway, and we've been working on the compost pad, and we're, I don't want to say we're substantially complete, but we're probably 90% complete. We gotta get some grass growth going, so we stop some erosion. And plus, it's been pretty cold. And but then we'll put the gravel pad on top, and we'll be operational for springtime. There's no question about it. But that came out really good too. So there's the project. So the only thing I got, other than the thank you I gave you earlier, was you know, we hope you support, because we really need the 103 to wrap up the security system and get the plan scanner plotter, and we're in good shape. And then that's going to leave us with what? 230,000, give or take, in uncommitted contingency, which is still a lot of money sitting at the end of a job. We're going to use some of it. We'll nibble into that, obviously, because we're not 100%. But
Was the security system value engineered out? I mean, how did,
We decided to pull it out of the project
Some
and
of
buy
it.
it off the state bid list because you get better value for it. Typically, if you include it as part of the contractor's fees, they put their markup on it. So we pulled it out, and we did that purposely for two reasons.
what's that, like a 20% number, or?
Yeah, roughly 18 to 22, depending on what it is. But also, our budget was tight, if you remember back then.
Oh, yeah.
So we said, let's hold it back. We'll buy it if the bids come in competitively, and we do diligence with our contingency, then we can look at exploring what we can get with the contingency for the security that we needed. So then, what we did is, Tom, myself, and Weston Sampson articulated with Signet as our security consultant to see what bare bones was and what the second phase would be to like card access, door control access, all of that. We put all the infrastructure in as part of the construction, and we would do the end components at the end of the day.
Was there anything else? I mean, the guardrails, I know they were taken out.
that was valued in. Oh, there was some value engineered stuff out, but we put a little bit back in earlier. Like, remember, we added some of the translucent panels. That was change order one.
Right.
We
but that-
value engineered, not all of them,
Yeah,
but we put
right.
some back in.
Right.
So the answer is, we did that because we were just concerned about, you know, where our estimates were versus when the bidding market came in. And when
Yeah.
they came in favorable, we started adding some of the scope back that needed for the program. That's what it was all about.
If I may, Mr. Chairman, just to add on the timing and, you know, for the public listening, so this job's about $300 a square foot,
Mhm.
which was right around, at the time, was around where we figured it was gonna land. 'Cause
Yeah.
you were seeing jobs coming in at that price. So we actually did very well on the bid, a little better than anticipated.
Yeah.
Because remember, we had some adults, we ended up adding those adults in. Like that undercarriage wash was an adult, which was a great addition.
Yeah.
Because the bids came in competitive, we were able to add back in that,
And we knew what that value was gonna be.
right.
Which was nice.
So, but now, like, were you saying, what's Middleborough, was it Middleborough you said it's per square foot?
390,
390?
I think was the number I got.
It's almost
Yeah.
$400.
So
Yeah.
you take you take the extra $90, you're adding another $6 million in this job.
I thought when we looked at this, we were at like 328.
When you look at the total job, so you gotta, when you look at the total job, site work, everything all inclusive, it's 328. I think that's even with the contingency.
Yeah.
So we're actually less than that.
Okay.
But I think when we looked at the building, we're around 294 or
Yeah.
something.
Yeah.
But,
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, where I'm going is the basic package that we presented at town meeting.
Was, say, 320 something.
Yeah.
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 So like, so right now, the value of this building in the current market, you know, is like another $6 million, give or take, if we were to buy it today.
Mhm.
So our timing was great.
Oh,
Yeah,
You got great value for this building.
yeah. Okay. All right, so, questions?
Can you go back to the slide on phase two?
Phase two,
Phase two, that were.
That? or farther up?
Yeah, no, that's the one. That's the additional security, plus you're talking now another,
Yeah.
uh.
20.
another
Yeah, and
20.
that's nothing new.
No, I understand.
In fact, I'll be honest with you, when we came in for phase one,
We have the blotter.
you know, I purposely said, okay, we don't have to buy the plotter now, scanner plotter now. We can wait on that till we're
where
in.
we're at.
So I purposely, but that's been a, you know, that's been on the list since day one in my mind in the building. But anyway, go ahead, I'm sorry.
The scanner, plotter, and other little miscellaneous things are really more furnishings than they are the content of the building itself. I have no problem on a new construction building like this to include the planner scanner and the plotter in with the building when things are going along as they are now. But that's really not the building. So I think our recommendation needs to call out to the selectmen that we think it's a good idea to do this, but that they're the ones that have to make the decision. And we should distinguish the fact that it is not actually the construction cost of the building, but is part of the furnishings of the building, which we feel are proper to put in at this time, because you don't go out and buy a scanner, plotter, you know, that's gonna last a long time.
Yeah, go ahead.
I just wanted to follow up on that comment. So I would agree that the planner, the
Plotter,
plan.
just call it a plotter.
Yeah, call it the scanner plotter. Is typically part of the equipment that you would buy for the building, for the operation of the building. So I would agree.
I
So,
understand.
so that being said, does it function as part of it'd be no different than buying the computers and
Furniture.
and furniture so they call it FF&E, it's furniture, fixtures, and equipment. To me, that is a part of the equipment for the DPW to do their operations and facility management for the town. So I think the point to make to the selectmen is that it is a piece of equipment. However, we held off buying that piece of equipment till we knew, you know, our budget was stable enough to make that decision to move forward with it.
As with the computers and stuff, we recommended that we thought it was a good idea to go ahead with it, okay? But that it was not part of the building, but they certainly had the ability to consider it as part of the
Correct.
cost of the building. I think the plan scanner plotter is the same thing.
I would agree with you.
I think more significantly that one of the big problems that we have had literally from the get-go, going back, way back, was the issue of getting into operations. And the big problem here was we were originally told, you guys there's gonna be no comment about operations. Of course, the response was that, you know, we could not get into operations and reasonably design a new facility without having some familiarity there. But it's been a very clear point all along with the selectmen that we are not to get into operations. This, to me, I think the other critical issue is that I think the contingency really, just philosophically, was part of the originally spec'd building. And that was what was presented to town meeting. That's what everybody approved. We didn't get into, you know, things that get plugged in or, you know, in and out of the wall, because, you know, that does get to operations. Do you want, you know, the $50,000 server program? You know, do you want the $20,000 program? I mean, that we were charged with creating the space in the room, and that anything that got plugged in or was an operational key to operations was really not part of our charge. And I think that this goes to that. I can see considering that the security issue, and that is, it is hardware and it is attached to the building, and maybe it did get reverse engineered a little on the lean side to make things work, but, you know, it's similar to the time clock thing, which has also got, you know, put into this, and that it's hardware attached to the building. It doesn't really go to operations, and it goes, you know, it's, again, physically part of making that building work. So I think, I have a hard time with the scanner and the plotter. I don't see that as any different than, you know, a desk or, you know, a shovel or, you know, anything else that would come and go out of there.
I agree with you, and that's what I said in talking about it, but the point I'm making is, I think we should make it clear to the selectmen that we don't consider the scanner plotter to be part of the building, but if they want to use the funds for it, that's their decision.
Well, in that basic draft that I put together, I've got some language that I think addresses it just that way. So we'll look at that, a little bit later.
Because I think having the plotter is an important thing to have for operations.
Oh, there's no question about it, but I mean, this also goes to, how much of the town is, I mean, I know we're creating a database now, but I mean, it's not complete. They've done, surveys downtown, and obviously, at some point in time, this stuff needs to be collected. And in fact, we have, as part of our design, we have created a room over there physically, just for that operation. But I think here again, at the end of the day, our responsibility was to create the room, not fill it full of, whatever, operations ultimately dictated. Yeah.
Just to add a little side note, so yesterday, I was down working in the building doing stuff, and the town planner and conservation agent were walking through the building. And John, Janelle had not seen, I don't think seen the building at all. George had been there once early on in the project. But anyway, so I gave him like a 3-minute walk around through the admin area, and I went into the copy plan file room. And of course, there's no files in there yet because we're moving everything over from this office to fill that one. And so anyway, I said, oh, this is where the plan scanner and plotter, will go. And they were like, scanner? That really piqued their interest, you know what I mean? Because John Janelle, our conservation guy, is also the GIS guy pretty much for the town.
Right.
So, a lot of map making and things like that. And they're like, scanner too? I'm like, yeah, scanner too. So it'll be a multi-departmental piece of equipment,
Yeah.
because there'll be things they'll want to scan and do whatever with, plan size stuff. So it'll be a well-used piece of equipment.
I can see this as being a reasonable presentation to the selectmen. I personally, and I think the rest of the committee, it's literally outside of our charge.
Well, as Joe says, it's FFE. It's the same as computers, it's the same as furniture.
Right,
As far as I'm
exactly.
concerned, same as the lifts.
Yeah, no, I mean, if the selectmen decide that,
Good idea, then they'll vote for it.
yeah, then they can do that. I just think it really is outside our,
When we presented to the selectmen, we said the same thing about the computers.
right,
And if we make the distinction, it's up to them to decide what to do.
right,
If we were really tight on the contingency fund,
right.
and we were coming out right,
Yeah, we had
really close to
if we were
7%,
75% and,
that would not be the top priority.
Exactly.
The building becomes.
exactly, exactly.
Yeah, we are going to turn money back. I mean, that's a given at this point on the project.
Yep. Okay. Just to go back, just to kind of reiterate for you guys, I know that some of the work that was done at the Lance fill, the actual transfer station stuff, I think there was something like $100 and somewhat thousand that for repairing that liner and
Oh,
everything.
the swale work?
Yeah, that came out of wastewater.
That came out of wastewater fund.
Yeah, funding, so that had nothing to do with our budget.
Yeah, it's not reflected in your numbers either.
Right,
That was like, you notice
The
your change order, 1 to, you got 1 and 6 and 8, and there's nothing in between because because those change orders didn't cost any money.
Yeah, 2, 3,
Or
4, and
they were
5.
not coming out of the project funds. There was one change order for that, the swale, and there was a change order for a little bit of stormwater we did on Gedalia Hill Road, and that came out of stormwater funds.
early on in this process, we were looking at cold storage function, and where we are right now is obviously that's still a recognized need, but where we are, and I've indicated in that draft that obviously for right now, Bay Ridge Lane, those structures are still available and could function that way. My understanding is most recently, in the last week, 2 weeks, something like that, the selectmen are looking to use that, for actually, I heard affordable housing. But There was also, early on in the design program here, we looked at incorporating a cold storage facility. I think we took it off the table just for budget reasons, going way back. But there are two options here, one being that the continued use of Bay Ridge Lane would take care of our immediate cold storage issues. And if that comes off the table, we physically have a space on site, literally next to the existing salt shed, where, you know, a cold storage facility could be physically put. And in fact, I think they're exploring that right now. So that function within this whole program is not off the table and is still there, but we do have options. So we have covered that function as well, if you will. We have any other questions?
Would you like a motion?
If we have no questions,
Then I would so move that we recommend that the selectmen proceeding with phase two as presented, with the clarification of the plan scanner and plotter not actually being part of the building, but being equipment necessary for the function of the building.
okay.
And that's it.
Okay. Okay. We'll incorporate that in the final report. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Okay. All right, we have a motion before us. I'll entertain a vote. Aye.
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 Okay, so that's unanimous.
Thank you, gentlemen, very much.
Welcome. Okay, next on the agenda. We've reviewed Phase 2.
You need to approve these.
Yeah, we'll get to that. That's the minutes. We'll get onto that in a minute. What I'd like to do is just have you guys, maybe we'll go through the draft that I have for the final report.
Want me to kill this?
Yeah.
Yeah, kill that thing.
Get
Are you guys taking off now?
No.
Turn your lights, put your lights on.
Thank you.
There you go, hit it again, hit it again. There you go, done. Let it cool down. Thanks.
Can we just quickly go over the difference of the 6 million between what we have? At one point in this, I've referenced the fact that Weston and Sampson has indicated that, you know, a similar project has come in at the 390 number.
Yeah.
Can we go back over that, how we got to the 6 million difference? If we just take it on square footage, I came up with a much lower number.
Yeah, well, when I first did it, I was thinking $90 a square foot, but which one number did you use, 324?
Yeah, I used 328.
Okay, all right, well, that's a different number, so that'd be 62,000, hold on. Let me get my calculator out. So, did you run it? Oh, 2.6 million?
Yeah, so if you do 328 minus the 390, I think we're about 42,000 square feet roughly?
Yes, yeah.
So
Yeah, it was
62
2.6.
42,300, I think, is the number.
So rounded
Yeah,
with
two-
escalation, you're, you know, because that's based on 2018 numbers, to go up to 2019, it's probably about 3 million.
Okay, yeah, actually, because I was coming up with 2.8, but that's
Yeah, it's about
all
3
three. I
million,
mean,
yeah.
with
That's
escalation and soft
Yeah.
costs, I mean, I
Exactly.
treated it strictly as construction.
Right,
Yeah,
right.
but
the
you got
construction
escalation.
footage, but obviously there would be Other factors as well. I mean, we don't know. We've got a bond, and I've mentioned that too. I mean, we have a bond of 20 years at 2.5%, which is not going to be seen anytime
Right.
in the future. So who knows, what that might be.
Yeah.
Okay, all right, that's that. Okay, I think I'll stick with. Maybe we'll up that number to.
500 for new police stations,
Oh, okay.
different components.
Yeah, okay. Got it.
Um,
He's kind of a nut about those things. I got the impression.
Yeah, get some good photos.
What I wanted to do with this is I've done is go through the history of where we are. I think that's a significant issue. Say nothing of the fact that, we started at 1.1 million and we're now at 13.6, but, and I wanted to also indicate for the selectmen, which we've never really done before, as to what went on with the critical issues during the design process. And what it referenced is how we went through things. Really, the two areas, basically, the admin was really, we had no issues with that, or very few of them. The issues really came up with cold storage, the vehicle storage, and some of the workshop stuff. And describe basically where, how we arrived at where we did with some of these issues. Go on to, mention that cold storage aspect that we talked about previously.
So is that something you're gonna read to the selectmen on Wednesday next week, or
Yeah,
briefly kind of?
Yeah, obviously, the problem here is, this has to be in by noontime tomorrow.
Yes.
So, it's, I'm finding myself in the, in the pressure cooker here, but, I did want to basically give an overview as to the history and what's been going on literally for the last, since we started way back. Because I don't think, maybe except for Todd and I, we're the only ones that are, that are still standing here.
The only thing I see on the report, the idea of acquiring the old Cape and Vineyard property, well, the Comm Electric property, or whatever you call it. You thought renovating would be about 1.1 million, and now we've evolved into a $13 million project.
Yeah.
Well, when they decided not to go ahead with that,
Mm-hmm.
that went off the table because Comm Electric sold the facility, didn't it?
No, what happened was, quite frankly, it got taken off the table because the selectmen were wading into the town hall renovation.
No, but when town hall was renovated, we couldn't really reconsider it because it was no longer.
It was long gone. It was long gone. Quite frankly, the property sold for $683,000. And we did go through, preliminarily what we were looking at as far as renovation, which was gonna be pretty straightforward. But the fact of the matter is, where we are today, we probably would have renovated, there would have been a major renovation project in all likelihood to upgrade, from what we needed anyway.
Absolutely.
you know, where, you know, to where we are today.
I was just thinking,
Sounds like you're
Perhaps-
bringing up ancient history, though.
Yeah, I mean,
Does it really matter to the selectmen?
I think it's important because of, very honestly, one of my frustrations here is the management issue here is literally, this should have been something that really was pursued 25 years ago. I mean, we're coming out of a facility that's over 50 years old.
But
And-
why, we've already approved, I mean, they've got a brand-new building built, why do you want to?
Because I think it's,
Break that up now.
because I think it's important for the point to be made that this process has taken 23 years, for starters, and it has evolved.
Okay.
And I think the point of, you know, quite frankly, you know, where we would have been, you know, back then, I think it's quite likely that we would have been somewhere between then and now, probably have renovated, you know, whatever that campus was gonna look like. But I think it's an important part. Just for the, you know, the history of what's going on here. I think that's been painfully evident all along here.
you might mention that when the selectmen came back and the project was, after town hall was completed and we went into the new project, you might mention that our needs had changed and the desires were to create a facility that encompass the whole DPW and everything.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's really what, we kind of forced, I think, we forced the issue with the previous iteration of the building committee that was put together in 2009, because they asked us to basically become, you know, work towards a building committee, and the opinion that we came up with, I mean, it was totally premature, based on the fact that they had a formal adoption of the DPW organization, which was in the works at that point. And, you know, the previous members were sitting there trying to figure out, you know, we were gonna build a building that was supposedly have a 50-year life, and we had no idea, you know, what the program was gonna look like. The other thing that we realized in going to visiting other DPWs is, you know, there's very different ways of running these organizations. I was very impressed with that. So it became very evident to us that without the adoption of the DPW organization, which the one that we have is completely unique to Cape Cod. I mean, nobody else has this organization. So it's, you know, our building fits like a glove to what, you know, what that is. But I don't think we really could have done the building or any of it without having that organization you know, formally in place.
And the Cape and Vineyard Garage, if it had been pursued way back then.
Yeah, it could have, but I mean,
Never have come out with the adequacy of the current facility.
no, that's what I say. In all likelihood, I mean, we probably would have renovated it, you know, in the last 23 years, we probably would have renovated it again, but who knows?
You couldn't have had,
Who knows?
you would have ended up in much
Yeah.
the same position you're in.
Yep.
What is the purpose of your report?
Excuse me?
What is the purpose of your report?
It's a final overview of our
The
process
output of
and
this
our
committee?
recommendations to the selectmen.
Of our recommendation, of
Yeah.
the committee's recommendation?
Yeah, so I mean, obviously, I'm gonna revise this to reflect our motion this afternoon. And there's a couple of numbers that need to get tweaked too, but, this is a summary of what we've been doing for the last, 3 years?
Wasn't it?
4?
Yeah, actually more than that when you get back into
Yeah.
that.
Right.
Can I just address, I think it's productive to show history of any process that you evolve to.
Yep.
I think it's also a great opportunity to celebrate the, you know, the collaborative effort that not only the town and the selectmen have put together to vote forward for this, that you have a state-of-the-art facility too, and I'm sure that'll be in your report.
Yeah, no, it is.
somewhere down
I
there.
have a
So,
closing
I mean,
statement.
I think that, you
right
know,
along
the
those
end
lines.
result is that the taxpayers put a lot of money out to make sure that they built a facility they could be proud of over the next 50 years. I think that is probably the most predominant point that you want
Oh,
to
yeah.
make sure that.
No, I mean,
There's no comparison in the projects between the 1.1 million to buy that
Right,
building.
that's the
and
hard part
13
about it, right.
That 13 million we ended up spending. I mean,
Yeah.
if you just look at it from afar, it kind of says, oh, gee, why didn't you do it this way?
Right,
in the
but
first
the
place?"
problem is that technology has changed, there's a number of different, you know,
Everything is
code
changed.
requirements that have changed since that point too, so.
I do agree with Peter, if I may, Mr. Chair, Peter's statement though about, you know, the cart before the horse, basically. You needed the structure, the DPW structure before you built the
Yeah,
facility.
there was no question about that.
You needed
Yeah,
it.
you couldn't, you
I
couldn't,
mean, the
you needed
previous-
the program,
The
bottom line.
the budget for the previous program back in 2009 was $5.5 million.
Right.
That truly would have been half of what we needed, at a minimum.
Because they were talking only highway.
Yeah, no, yeah, yeah.
Right.
Yep. Yep.
I do, if I may, I do encourage you, you know, if not together on your own, you know, reach out to me, come down, and I can give you a walkthrough. You know, because how many have been, 3 of you have been through. I don't know, Mike or Herb,
I
you've been
was a
down.
while back. yeah.
Right, but I really
Yeah,
encourage you
seen
to
it
take a
done now,
walk
yeah.
and, you know, see the infrastructure, the lifts. I mean, it's a,
Yeah, I mean, it really, I mean, to have watched it, you know, the way some of us have, I mean, it's been a really, really gratifying process. I mean, it's a heck of a facility. I mean, it really is, you know, it's not gonna win the Pritzker Prize, but I mean, I think it's,
Close.
from my perspective, I think it's a really, really cool machine.
I can offer on behalf of Weston and Sampson, we've built 40 of these.
Yeah,
Worked on 120, many more coming.
yep.
And I can tell you the buzz around the office, seeing the pictures and the people that are involved, they're really excited about this. There's a lot, we've done a lot of, some different cost-effective approaches out
Yep.
there that we're now applying to other facilities because they worked out so well. The suspended mezzanines,
Yeah,
just
that-
really,
yeah.
there's a lot of buzz going around our office about how excited they are, how that turned out. So,
Yeah, that's,
you know, in a very cost-effective manner, so we're
Yeah.
really excited.
yeah, and it gets, and like I said, one of the things that I've realized, I mean, when we first got into this was, you know, well, it's, you know, DPW, it's a big garage, you know, dump trucks in it,
It
and,
is,
you know,
right.
what's the big deal here, you know?
Right.
And I think that's part of the education that we need to kind of forward here, because there are literally, so I mean, there's a lot of really big things that go with this. I mean, not the least of which is just the organizational thing.
Right.
The
But,
benefit the town's gonna gain from this building is gonna be astronomical over the next several years. Just the maintenance of the vehicles and the operations alone.
Protection of that
Yeah.
multi-million-dollar fleet.
It's gonna be a
phenomenal.
tremendous savings.
Well, in this, in my report, I mean, or our report is, I've made mention of the fact that, you know, infrastructure here is critical, and it goes, and I mean, it's the most important thing in town, because it's our beaches, you know, it's all our water issues, whether it's clean water, wastewater, you know, it's, you know, road maintenance, I mean, it covers a huge amount of issues that are important to everybody here, whether you're a taxpayer or not, or just a citizen. And it's been, you know, way behind that way, and I think they're, you know, like everything else, I mean, people don't think about, you know, water mains or snow plows going by your house at 4 o'clock in the morning, but, you know, that's why all this stuff happens. Okay,
Do you want some kind of motion giving approval of this final report pending the minor changes due to
yeah, okay, yeah, I think,
today?
yeah, that would be, yeah,
Okay,
that would be,
I will so move.
okay. I have a motion to tentatively approve the draft for the final report. Do I hear a vote?
Did you want a second?
Aye, did you? Okay, okay.
I'll-
Well, then, yeah, let's be proper to the end here.
Second.
A second, okay. Now do I hear a vote? Aye.
Aye.
Okay, that's unanimous too. Wait, we've had a lot of unanimous things from beginning to end here. That's a good indicator too. All right, a little bit of housekeeping. We have some minutes to approve from our last meeting, which you have in front of you. Any changes, comments?
No. Depends on the traffic. You gotta be over there one?
I got 6.
No, you're all right. You're fine.
What about, it's the closest place?
Kind of on the way. Is there any fast food?
Would it be in Illinois?
It's way
Any
way
sub
out.
shop?
to my memory, they were pretty reflective of what happened at the time, but it was back in August, so. Then I'll move that we accept the minutes for August 9th. Okay, and a vote? Aye? And that's unanimous too, right to the end. Okay, that having been done, I will move that we adjourn.
Before you adjourn,
Yep.
I'd just like to say one thing. I came onto this committee, Johnny come lately. You guys had done most of the heavy lifting and all the design work and everything, et cetera, et cetera. And I want you to know how impressed I was with what had been done prior to my ever coming in here.
Yep.
You made it very easy for me because there was nothing to object to, okay?
Well,
And the other thing I would say is you guys have been really great to work with. I think one of the things that I laughed about at the time, but I was at one of the 8 o'clock meetings a week or so ago. And here we were coming up to the final deadlines and needing the occupancy permits and getting everything done and pulling everything together. And it's a time when people are usually pulling their hair out. Peppers are flashing and all kinds of things are going on. And somebody cracked, I think it was you, cracked a stupid joke. I mean, it was just.
That's about right.
he's been good,
That's right.
he's been good for those all along.
What'd you point to? And everybody laughed. I mean, just everybody laughed, and a nice, open-hearted laugh. It was really great, and that is typical of what I've seen in coordination of this project. And I think the town owes all of you guys and you guys a huge debt of gratitude, because I think you've done a really, really super job.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Yeah, I echo that. This has been very gratifying to, be part of the whole process.
If I may say, a lot of us have, been in construction a long time, and we know how construction can go.
Yeah.
And like I said earlier, just the group of people actually out there doing it. And it's what you said, Herb. All of us have worked very hard to keep it a positive experience, and to work through, instead of letting tempers fly, but we've had a great mix. The designer's great, OPM's been great, our contractor's been great, the subs have been, really good to work with. It's been a real good collaborative. Even our IT guy's been great. And and he is. He's been great. It's been a really good. It hasn't been easy. I mean, it hasn't been easy, but the largest job I've ever worked on, and it's gone a lot better than a lot of the smaller jobs I've worked on.
Yeah.
So.
I want to take my hat off to you, Tom, for such a good job. And before
Thank you.
I leave, I want to shake your hand.
Well, that's a given.
But don't get up yet.
When the camera's off, I might give you a kiss.
No, you put in a lot of hours.
Thanks, buddy.
All right.
If you give me a kiss, it's not fair. I move we adjourn.
Okay. Okay, do I hear a vote? Aye.
Aye.
You all.
Right to the end.